Okay, in this tutorial I'll just show you a quick workaround for displaying text in your scene in case it's showing up as fuzzy. It's apparently a bug within Blender. I'm not sure, but something's not quite right about it. So here's just some regular 3D text. You can tell because there's that F button right here. And if I run this application real quick, it's going to display the time, and you notice that date up there, year 2013, then August 11th, is pretty fuzzy versus the text on the digital clock and the analog clock. They're pretty sharp like that, but the text on the digital and analog clock have been converted to meshes, whereas the other one has not. But that's because I can, when you see this clock now come up to midnight here any second, the date is going to change to August 12th right there. There it changed. So you can change things dynamically as long as you leave this text in text format and don't convert it. In this case, with this digital clock, I'm having to actually swap out the numerals for each date as I run it. So it's not quite the same way, but it does give you the advantage of you can change the colors as well. So I can just modify these colors, whereas on this text, even though I have it set to yellow or whatever color, it's not going to be that color when you actually run it. It just stays white when it stays as text. So if you're having trouble, and if you just want to use the text object so you can modify it on the fly, because it's a real quick change, say within Python, just to change it, you have to actually take this text like here and just move it way back, say in the distance like that, and then go look at it from maybe scale it way up back in here so it's approximately the same size as it was before, and you have to kind of position your view like this. And now when I run it this time, you'll see it's a lot sharper. Alright, so that's kind of a workaround you have to do, and even if you're doing game development and you have a text in a separate scene and you're kind of referencing it, this is the same thing. You have to move it far away from the camera and just expand the size of the text in order to keep it sharp. Alright, so the digital clock I'm using though is a whole different game as far as this is concerned. But one other thing I did want to point out is notice this is 2.66 that I'm working in right here, and there's no issues. Notice the position of this clock hand is centered right there at the 3. There's actually a little cylinder in there that holds this thing in place, and when I run it, that clock hand is going to stay right there. Actually takes a second to start running. There it is. It stays right centered, so it's just fine like that. But when I've brought this model over into 2.68, which is now, here's 2.68, here's the same model, you'll notice this clock hand, when I run it, shifts down. I've done no changes to this code whatsoever. It just does it. So there's always some changes in Blender, so I'm going to have to find a fix for that to see what it is. It's something with the rigid body joints. And yeah, that's something about version change as well. Okay, well that's it for this. I just want to point those points out about the text, and I'll see you in the next video.